Iran's supreme leader has called the downing of a Ukrainian airline a bitter tragedy, but he says it should not overshadow the U.S. killing of top commander Qasem Soleimani in a drone strike. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's remarks came as he delivered his first Friday sermon in almost 8 years.
The Ayatollah called for national unity and a high turnout in an election in February. He also claimed Iran's enemies were happy about the plane crash because it gave them an opportunity to question the country's armed forces.
Today's sermon follows days of protests after the military admitted that it had mistakenly shot down the 737. Vigils for the 176 victims swiftly turned into protests against Iranian authorities, including the Ayatollah himself.
The supreme leader also said that Iran would not yield to sanctions imposed by Washington and warned against any U.S. strikes on Iran. And he accused the U.S. of lying in its expressions of support for the Iranian people. Now, for more, Mahan Abidin is in Tehran. He joins us now. Mahan, which part of the Ayatollah's sermon stood out for you?
Well, I think it was very much a status quo speech. It wasn't really an escalation. It was more of a containment. There were strong warnings to the United States not to escalate. Iran can act robustly, as it did in the wake of General Soleimani's assassination, when Iran became the first nation state to attack U.S. bases for decades with remarkable precision, with 22 ballistic missiles. So that was a warning there. But otherwise, I found Ayatollah Khamenei's speech today very much a status quo speech. There's not going to be a sudden escalation. At the same time, Iran is not going to negotiate with the United States under these conditions, when the U.S. is setting out maximalist demands.
Mahan, you mentioned that the speech pretty much status quo, containment. Does the Ayatollah sermon appear then to have perhaps maybe quelled unhappiness among protesters?
Well, you have to put these protests into perspective. I mean, there's a few thousand students who came out and protested. But a week before that, millions of Iranians came out in a remarkable show of national cohesion to mourn the loss of General Soleimani. So, I'm living here, I'm working here. I feel like I have a good grasp of what's going on. And there were just a few scattered protests that the Western media tried to blow all out of proportion, primarily to overshadow what had happened a week before. So these protests that you refer to, they're not really a major thing here. They're not significant.
All right, thanks for that. Mahan Abidin speaking to us from Tehran.